Growth marketing is an emerging trend among startups. Keerthi, founder of 100 Rupees and director of Pune OCC, will tell us more about how to build an engaged community. We welcome Keerthi.
Hello everyone. How are you guys doing today? Good? Okay. First question. How many of you came to this place or to today's event through POCC? Hands up. POCC, Pune Open Coffee Club. Okay. Bunch of you. Okay. We all know about the pioneers of community builders. Apple is one of them, right? There's Xiaomi, which is doing incredibly well in terms of building community. The Chinese company called Xiaomi. If you have a Mi phone, you'll know what I'm talking about. ISKCON, right? There's a big following about the Krishna conscious that they do followers, right? So I'm gonna be talking a little bit about community building today. It's become an integral part of a startup. How many of you actually have followers or influencers for your own companies? Your own startups? Have you started looking into building a community? Any of you? Okay. Well, this is what I've seen that a lot of startups, when they look into marketing, we've talked a lot about marketing today, but this is a totally different angle. A lot of us, when we start looking into marketing, we intentionally or unintentionally, we forget to appreciate our existing customers, right? We're always hunting for new customers. So we forget that our existing customers people who have taken us to a level, we've just forgotten them, and they're just a number in our books or accounts and stuff. If you watch this movie called Rocket Singh, right? Salesman of the Year. He talks about customer as a person, people, right? We're all emotionally very much connected. So marketing is all about people and meeting people, getting them involved, engaging them in the activities that you're doing, and really talking to them rather than just having them as a number, right? So, okay. So, incidentally, I stayed in US for about 7 years, like Shripal did, and I just returned in 2013, and I was very new to the Pune startup ecosystem startup, and I started following. A friend of mine actually suggested me to go on Pune Open Coffee Club and start interacting and stuff. So a little contribution from my side, not very much. So I started interacting with a lot of people on POCC. Eventually, it so became that I got in touch with the people who founded Santosh Davra, the founder, and he wanted to step down and he was looking for somebody to take over. And for the past 1 year, as I know, a lot of people have talked about POCC. I'm sure you get a lot of emailers from me. You'll see, at the end of the email, you'll see best regards, Keerthi Kadam, right? So, part of building community is talking to every single person, every single customer that is either paying you or even a potential customer, right? The whole process of marketing and sales and everything just involves numbers, is what it has boiled down to today. People only talk about, when they're pitching to an investor also, it's again numbers. So there are numbers here again, right? We have these many number of members, discussions, events. So these are the 3-4 communities that I actually organize and I kind of take care of. POCC is one of them. We have almost 21,000. See, again, we're talking about numbers. We have 21,500 plus members, and it's an open community. If you don't know, Pune Open Coffee Club, punestartups.org is the web link to it. So you can go on and check for a lot of valuable content, valuable interactions, a lot of forum things happening, a lot of connections. I know a lot of people in Pune, a lot of startup founders have found their co-founders or found their resources through Pune Open Coffee Club. So building an ecosystem like that takes a lot of effort. So and a few others are, I have about 3 meetup groups. One of them is called Startups, Enthusiasts and Entrepreneurs. We have about 2,036 members there. There's a Facebook group, which is, it's just a property. It's just an asset there, out there. But I felt a need for a group where there's no approval needed. A lot of us, startup people, we want to do advertisements and stuff, and we don't have a bunch of people to look at it. So what I thought was, let's do a open group wherein people can come and just put their advertisements, and there will be no approvals needed for it. Whenever you go to a group, approval needed and all of this and that. So I thought, we should just do that. So basically, okay. So community building starts with a single person, right? You first get one person and you talk to him. It may be your friend and family and stuff, and then you start growing from there. It's very important that you build a community around your own business, whether it's a consumer product or service that you're trying to sell, whether it's a B2B that you're trying to sell. What's important, again, we just had 100rupees.com, my company, my startup. We are an online marketplace for digital services starting at 100 rupees. So that's why the name 100 rupees. So recently we had an event. It was called Freelancers and Startups Meetup. So we were trying to bring both the freelancer group and the startups group at one place. What we've seen is that a lot of freelancing websites try to, bridge a wall between the two groups. And we wanted to eliminate that wall. We said, let's bring them together. We don't mind them talking. We don't mind them doing business with each other and stuff like that. So because our revenue model is simple. We make a 10% cut every time there's a transaction that happens between a freelancer and a startup. And this was a place that we were trying to bring them together, and we were trying to say that, okay, we care about freelancers. That's why we are bringing you here, and you can get business from startups. We were putting you directly in contact with the people, your potential customers, right? So this was a way for us to say that we actually care for you. So when you're doing your startup, it's very important that you start looking into that particular angle, wherein you say, we really care for you. Whatever conventional marketing strategies are going on, whatever walls that people are building between two groups, whether it's a marketplace, right? Mostly in a marketplace, it's a wall. We will not give you contact information of this and stuff like that. So we also have this on our website. We say don't share your email address and phone number and stuff. But this is something new that we're trying to do. That we're trying to eliminate that wall and bridge that gap between the two group of peoples everywhere in the world, right? In a business, there's a buyer and a seller everywhere. So how do you build that particular community is important, because community is about loyalty, right? So Apple, how many of you actually have Apple here, right? How proud do you feel when you say I have an Apple, right? So it's a sense of pride that people have when they are attached to a particular community. Apple लोग बैठ जाएंगे side में, right? Or say तू मेरा भाई है, right? Or it's common at chai tapris where you see people smoking, right? When two people smoke, you share a smoke and you become friends. So sharing a common ground becomes a community actually. So how do you actually target your the people that you're trying to build a community? I recently had an idea to to do something about salons. We were trying to do aggregator of salons, which we never did. We had a big design and everything, and we scrapped it. We said too much saturation. Let's scrap it. But while we were doing that, the first thing that came to our mind was how do we tap into the ladies community? How do we get into attracting them to use our service? So one thing that we thought was why don't we go out there and give a rose to every single lady on the street and tell them that you're so beautiful, and we just want to compliment you for today. Hope this makes your day beautiful, and because you're so beautiful. And while we did that, we wanted to have a small interaction with them and try to understand them and bring that 10 to 15 ladies that we talked to at one forum. We wanted to make hubs in different areas and bring them all together at one place and build that community one by one. So this is a very good example. When there is dahi andi, we see that a lot of people come together, right? This is a following. Community is all about following. How can you get people following your service or your product? This is a very different angle from doing your PR, from doing your sales and marketing, pitching, calling, and all that. All that you're saying is you care about the person more than getting the money out of their wallet, right? Community building is all about how much you care. So how do you engage? Once you build the community, once you have a few people, and again, community building doesn't happen in a day. It takes a lot of effort because it should be very relevant to what you're building. Your community, like I said, for the salons, we only wanted to target the ladies, right? And again, ladies who actually use the service. So how do you engage once you build that community? One thing is events, right? At POCC, we have an event a month. Uh, 12 months, we have 12 events, and mostly targeting startups, people connected with startups. So we try to figure out the current trends, and we try to reach out to people who are engaged in such startups and try to bring them as speakers. And these events, these are all free events that we try to do. So this can also be part of your marketing strategy, wherein you as a startup can just bring people specifically interested in your product or service. Just do events related to your product and service. There are a lot of people who might be interested in just that. One way to understand who your exact target customer or potential customer is, look for your competition, right? For example, if you're an app, go to your competition's app, see the reviews. You'll see a lot of people there discussing, right? Those are your customers because they've already on something that your competition is doing. So you can actually do a lot of events, newsletters, and announcements. The day I took over, Jan 1st, 2016, what I said to the team was, no, we'll send out emails to our community. POCC, Pune Open Coffee Club, earlier we were inactive in terms of sending out announcements. So we said, let's announce everything that's happening around startups. People should know about it. So let's send out at least the announcements that this particular meetup is happening here, some events are happening there, and in a way we also partnered up with a lot of companies that who were doing events, and then of course email interactions and email encouragements. So about encouragement on POCC, what I started doing was I started questioning people about can you, which are the best startups in Pune? So if you go on punestartups.org, you'll see my post. There's one post which is featured. There's about, and we still get replies to that particular post, which says best startups in Pune. So everyone wants to say I'm the best, right? And I just sent an email saying that I want people to send me few answers to a questionnaire that I had sent. That why are you best? Why are you a best startup in Pune? Can you name all? Can you mention the credentials and stuff? So people sent almost about 30 to 40 people sent me emails back, and then I listed that on the post, and then people started replying to that post. They said, I also deserve to be on this list. So a lot of email interaction started happening. There was another email interaction that I tried to do, saying that um, if you love POCC, add your logo to POCC and we'll post that on our Facebook page. So there was one that I personally started. It says 100rupees.com, then a heart and POCC. So that was my first post, and people were like inspired by that. And then a few of them sent me those pictures with their logo, heart and POCC. So that kind of engagement started happening. A lot of people started getting back to me, and in fact, if I'm not on the forum, there's a lot of things happening on my inbox on POCC. A lot of people trying to get in touch with me because everyone wants to be engaged with the community. Everyone wants to talk to the community. So that kind of email encouragement happen, and then content. If it's a forum that you're trying to build with a community of, let's say, I don't know, maybe just girls, just boys, or it's trekkers, adventurers, whatever you're working on your idea. I think a lot of content needs to be moderated. You need to know which content should be going on the forum and which should not go, because some things could be controversial. That's why we have approvals and delete button back in the back end. So just today there was this one post, somebody was trying to post an event, celebrate Republic Day with us, and by mistake what they had posted was, instead of show your respect and love, there was a misspelled content. It said show your respect to the Indian flag. So it could have been very controversial if that would have gone on the forum. People would have really taken the guy down, and they would have called me, what is happening on POCC? So in fact, I had to send that particular person, before you submit, before you hit that submit button, please read your posts, right? So content curation is something very important in terms of building a forum, right? Then appreciate your influences. So whenever there is a really good blog, I feature it. It's very important that, and an email goes to the person who writes the blog that your blog has been featured. So in that case, what happens is that particular person feels appreciated. So he or she will come back and write more. So that's what we do on POCC. But again, see, depending on your particular startup, you can think of ways how you can build a community. Building a community should be an integral part of your startup right from day one, right? Because it's very important that they have an attachment for the brand. So that's how you can actually say that we have about 1,000 followers in Pune, so we can go and brag about it in Mumbai, maybe Bangalore and stuff like that. So we can start building those small communities, and community starts with one person. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. So, but what is more important is value addition, right? Can you go back? Yeah. So when you work on a community, it's very important that you partner up with the ecosystem, other people in the ecosystem. So when we did our event recently, we said let's reach out to everyone who's doing something in Pune, everything related to startup. Whoever is in that ecosystem, let's reach out to them. We sent out emails to each and everyone, and everyone was more than happy to partner with us. In fact, there was a lot of value addition from the partners. In fact, Mesh, Deepti, when I told her, we'll put you as ecosystem partner, she said, right away, she said, whatever help you need, we'll do that. And they took care of all the snacks, they took care of all the things that was supposed to be done, all the logistics. Very thankful to Mesh in those terms. But what is important is do not work in a isolated kind of a way. Always try to partner up. Like Shripal said, they partner up with Uber and MTV and all that. So it's very, very important to find the right partner, and which is in line with your service or product, and then you try to do value addition to your own brand and to their brand. It's very important that you add value to them also, because like for example, you in all your promotions, in all your communications, make sure that your logo and their logo is going together. People should know that somebody else is also associated with you. In fact, the credentials, when they get added, they become double, right? When you're just 100rupees.com, nobody knows you. When you are 100rupees.com with this 15 other partners, everybody starts knowing you. Okay, because every single logo comes with maybe 10,000 people with it, right? They all have followers, they all have networks. So when you do that, make sure that you partner up with people in your own domain. It's very important that you partner up. Okay. So finally, community is all about giving. It's always about giving and giving and giving and giving. So it's not about sales or marketing. It's always about how much you care, right? That's what you feel when you use Apple. Apple makes sure that they take care of you in every possible way, right? When you buy an Apple phone, there'll be every possible communication from Apple Inc. that goes in all their newsletters and everything. You feel a part of the community. So it's very, very important that when you start building a community, have a really good intention that you will do value addition to what is existing today. So if you are trying to sell a product or service, maybe talk about it, information, a lot of information, good and bad, and a lot of transparency is good. When you're transparent about your service and product to the community, it's very, very good. And keep giving. That's the only way. Keep giving, and that'll open up a lot of doors for you. People will start getting back to you. They'll say, I was amazed to get something so precious or so valuable. You gave me this particular. You guys are doing fantastic job. You gave us this information. I was able to connect with somebody else, and those connections are very important. Between like for now, there are about 100 people here. If everyone knows each other in some way, right? So when we did an event last Sunday, people, everyone asked me to share each other's contact information, right? So my answer was simple. I said I'll be very happy to do that as long as nobody has privacy issues, right? So I will ask people if they're ready to do it. I'll just share it with everyone. So it's very important that you connect people, become a connector rather than trying to build those walls. In the community, it's very important that you connect and connect and connect. That's what is networking and building community all about. And without community, any startup or any company, it's difficult to take it to the next level. So be it Apple, Android, ISKCON, Hinduism, Christianity, Muslim, Islam, whatever, right? Everything, you need to identify with the brand. So it's very important that you build a community for your own startup right from day one. That's about it. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Two questions.
What is the preferred forum to build a community? It's a social network, Facebook. What's the medium?
So, first of all, in terms of building a community, I think um, the first most important thing is you need to know. I think I skipped the last one. There was one last one. So, relevance is very important, right? So, whatever service or domain you're into, you need to target that particular domain interested people. So it's difficult to get somebody on Facebook or on Twitter or on some social media platform so easily. So first you need to identify them within your own circle that somebody is interested in this particular forum. So you get them on Facebook slowly one by one. So first build that particular any community if you want to build. I think it's the first 10 people which is very difficult to bring on. So once you bring those first 10 people and there's an interaction going on, that is when from there on you can obviously do a lot of Facebook advertisements and stuff. But what is more important is community should be very relevant. Otherwise, what will happen is a bunch of people will come and there's no relevance. People are talking anywhere and everywhere. Everything is everywhere. So you need to build a very segmented, very niche community. So in that case, you need to pick and choose who you want to be on that particular forum. So when we get sign-ups from people who are into real estate, right, on POCC, we kind of tend to stay away. But again, I go through the whole profile. If the person is just talking about sales, about his own project, I just say no to that person right there. And there was one of the guys who emailed me back saying that, why did you do this? I was like, there's no relevance, boss. It's all about startups. Of course, if you're into real estate, please do come. We'll more than be happy to welcome you. But, bring some relevance with you for the community, right? So the first 10 to 15 people is what you have to, struggle to bring in. Once that happens, then you connect the dots slowly. I hope that answers your question. Yeah.
Hi. Yeah, I want to know what are the challenges you face while partnering with someone. Like, if you are an upcoming startup and probably another startup has a lot of members in it, and you don't have that much. So, do you have any challenges, or is it always a win-win situation?
I think, like Shripal put it, it's always about asking. If you don't ask, you will never know what the other startup is thinking about. If you're talking about collaborating on certain maybe an event you want to do together, or you want to kind of exchange some information between the users of two companies, I think it's about just reaching out to that person or the founder or whoever is in charge and ask them, how can we collaborate? That's a very nice word. How can we collaborate? What synergies do you think? From my angle, I see this is what we can bring to the table. We would love to be partnering up with you, and we can bring this value to the table. And we think that you can add value from this side of the table. So that is where you need to understand and try to bring that very positive vibe between two startups or two entities. Yeah? Yeah? Okay. Alright. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks a lot.